Welcome to Fortune and Friendship, the podcast where we believe that your most valuable asset is your network. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and each week we'll connect with inspiring guests who are making waves in their fields. Together, we'll explore how collaboration and friendship can lead to incredible opportunities and success. Each episode, you'll hear from entrepreneurs, creative investors, and thought leaders who will share what they're currently working on and how we can join forces to create something amazing. Whether you're looking to expand your own network or discover new ways to collaborate, you'll find actionable insights and fresh ideas right here. So let's settle in and remember, it's not who you know that counts, it's who knows you. Welcome back, guys. Fortune and Friendship, episode 51. We're in it. Got a great guest today. Talked with him a little bit. I think you're going to really get some value here. That being said, let's just jump into it. All right, let's just bring him up. So today we have Mr. Zack Busch. Zack, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's a beautiful day outside, at least here in Georgia. But yeah, so like I said, we've talked a little bit, but introduce yourself. People that are watching don't know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am located outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. Like you mentioned, my name is Zack Busch. And the weather actually here is warming up, so I'm super fortunate about that as well. I know it's not as warm as it is in Georgia, but either way, it's warming up. I'm enjoying that. Either way, I am out of Pennsylvania. I am primarily at W-2. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I do HVAC design for healthcare, so mainly hospitals, inpatient, outpatient facilities. So that's my main gig. I've been doing that for about 10 years. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it's my overall passion. And leading to my overall passion is exercise and nutrition and dialing all that in. I've been an athlete pretty much my entire life. In college, I played soccer, and when I was done college and done playing soccer, I played in some men league for a little bit, but it got to the point where that was, taking a toll on my body. I was getting these injuries that were keeping me from being able to go to the gym. And I was fortunate that through my sports, I found CrossFit really early, in 2006, 2007, when I was like a year old, maybe. I've been doing that since then. And while it was a supplement to the sports that I was doing, it became my main sport when I was done all the other stuff. And the thing I like about CrossFit is it's got all the different things. It's got the conditioning, it's got the strength training, it's got the gymnastics work. So it's got a little bit of everything. And through that, especially after I was done playing sports, I learned that I needed to dial in my nutrition a little bit more and my sleep patterns. I was out of college. I was used to, staying up on Friday, Saturday night, all hours, drinking, all that stuff. And I was still working out and I was still eating decently through the middle part of the week, but wasn't really dialing things in. So I started to learn a little bit more about that, started making some changes and really dialing in the nutrition, and dropped a bunch of weight and just got everything performing really well and enjoyed that process. So from there, I wanted to see, okay, I did this for myself. How can I help other people do that? And so I've been learning over the past few years on coaching, and I became a certified coach and nutrition coach, and just helping people through their journeys to improve their health and fitness. That has been something that I've enjoyed doing, again, mainly on the side because I do have the W-2, but recently really trying to help more and more people and expand that and scale that up a little bit. So that's really what I've been exploring recently over the past year or two is how can I help more people doing that? And specifically, I became a dad 2 years ago, and that transition is difficult. I know you're a dad as well, so you can understand. So how can I help specifically dads as well go through that and make some time for themselves to improve their health and fitness? Because ultimately, we want to be here for a long time for our spouse, for our kids. And in order to do that, we need to take some time for ourselves to improve that health and fitness. And eventually, maybe we'll have grandkids, and we want to be around and be able to play with them as well. So building those foundational habits to have long-term for not only ourselves, but for the loved ones that we have with us.
Okay. All right. So I guess so someone watching this, they might want to know. You said you lost a bunch of weight.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you lose, and what kind of stuff did you do in order to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I was never severely overweight. I mean, when I was in college, I definitely did not dial things in. I gained the weight, but I would never say I was overweight. But college was definitely my heaviest. So I was probably, I don't know, 195, 200. I'm not super tall. I'm like 5'8". So it was definitely, I had some muscle tone on me because I was lifting a bunch and all of that, but definitely had some weight to lose. And when I was really dialing things in, I got down to 160. So, I lost 30 pounds and put on some muscle in the process. And, you know, that was probably a 6 month to a year process of kind of doing that. So it took some time to get there. And more importantly, what I built through that was the habits that help me kind of maintain where I'm at now. I sit around 180 to 185, and that's what I found works for me. Getting down to the 155 or 160 was great, but it was too light for me. It was too lean for me. I didn't feel good. When the weights started coming in, like during workouts, I just felt like I wasn't fueling myself enough. And I've gone back up to purposefully 190 to try to put on muscle, and that didn't feel great either. So it was playing around with all that stuff because bodies reacts differently. So settling in and taking a year or two to kind of find that balance. But ultimately what got me there was building the foundational habits first, doing the meal prepping, getting enough water in, getting my sleep dialed in. All of those things help lay the foundation. But then ultimately, when it was fine tuning things, I was weighing and measuring things. I was adjusting my macros, my protein, carbs, fat intake. And that's not something that I think really anybody needs to do right away. That's a long term, that's a like really you're dialing in something for something specific. That's like a level 2 activity as opposed to a level 0 or level 1 where you're building up those foundational habits. So a lot of it was what can I do that I can keep with me long term, and then it was what can I do to dial in. So kind of a 2-phase process.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I did something similar. It was 2023. Me and my wife, we did 75 hard. We did that. We did the whole, or I did the whole Live Hard program, so the whole year. And same thing. I ended up losing 30 or 35 pounds. But I started out at like 260.
Okay.
And got down to 230. Or actually, I think the lowest I got was like 228 or something like that. So, but I kind of played around a little bit. Interestingly enough, what I found out is that, like macros, either I'm not doing it right or it doesn't quite work for me. The best I've felt is actually when I've done carnivore. When I've cut out all carbs and just focused on protein and fats. So obviously I know, a lot of people are like, oh, but then you get deficiencies and stuff like that. I didn't really see any of that. Now I didn't do it for like for the whole year or anything like that. But I did it a lot longer than most people, talk about. They're like, oh, I did it for 7 days and here's what, that's just enough to get started. I would do it for 30 days at a time. And then the biggest thing I would miss actually would be potatoes. That's about it. So I've been meaning to retry it, but like you said, we just had our third kid. And so it's we're actually restarting 75 hard April 1st. So we're giving us enough time to actually get back to having good sleep. But yeah, so no, that's so like for you, I guess what's your I know you're passionate about helping people with this, but for you specifically, like what are your goals physically? Are you looking to build muscle? Are you looking to be functional? Like what kind of stuff? I guess that's not the actual question I want to ask. How do you determine your goals?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I mean, you have to do a self-analysis. I mean, what I would do for somebody, who's coming to coaching and figuring out their goals is figuring out where you currently are is the first step, right? Knowing where you're at is going to help kind of decide on what's the next thing that I want to work on. So, the goals are to me, the goals are the things that I'm going to do on a day in and day out basis. What am I willing to do? What can I do? And the end result is that long-term vision. But to have the long-term vision and to set those goals, I need to kind of know where things are at now. So for me personally, I'm in the season of, I have a 2-year-old and I'm not looking to train for anything specific. So it's just general, functional fitness and getting out there and just going to the gym consistently. I'll push myself here and there just as a good way to relieve some stress. But for me right now, it's more important to just get into the gym and get moving and just stay moving, just keep that momentum going. So knowing that, I'm not training for anything specific. So like my goals, how do I come up with that? I want to build a business to help people achieve their goals. So what can I start doing on a day-to-day basis to work towards that? Like that's thinking through what season are you in? If you're somebody who maybe doesn't have kids and you want to dial things in, then we can have a different conversation. And that's where I was before I had my son. I spent the 4 months leading up to my son being born, so the first part of 2023, trying to just focus on weightlifting. I did Olympic weightlifting, so snatch and clean and jerk, and that was my focus. My goal was, let's see how much muscle mass I can put on. Let's see how heavy I can lift. And I was weighing and measuring everything. I was making sure I was eating enough protein and carbs and fats, and I was lifting 6 days a week and doing all the recovery and all that. And that was good for that time. And I finished that right before my son was born. And then from there, I switched to just that maintenance. Like, hey, I just need to get to the gym and just move. It doesn't have to be anything intense. Doesn't have to be anything difficult. So for deciding on what you want to do, it's where are you at right now? And what are you willing to start doing? And like having an idea of where you want to go, right? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to add muscle? And connecting those dots and what is the best path that we can start you on to get you moving. It doesn't have to be the biggest, loftiest thing, and likely it shouldn't be, right? You don't want to go from eating whatever to weighing and measure everything. Probably not going to be able to stick with it. So what's the first step that we can do to start building that towards whatever your goal is? And again, it starts from where are you at now and ideally where do you want to go, and then building those steps from there.
Okay. So for your clients, do you... Because I know you like CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you push your clients to do CrossFit, or do you kind of hear out like, hey, here's what obviously if they have experience in something, I'm assuming you listen to that.
Yeah.
But like if they're like, I don't know, haven't really done anything, but CrossFit looks a little crazy. Like, how does that work? Are you flexible, or are you like, no, this is my tried and true process?
Yeah. Nothing is certainly prescriptive. I love CrossFit, and I think you see, the joke is always like, how do you know somebody does CrossFit? And it's like they tell you within the first 5 minutes of meeting them, kind of thing, and there's a reason.
Say anything, but
and it's kind of like, we're in sub 2, you have your sub 2 hat on, like it's that kind of thing where it's like when you're in a community, that's for me. The CrossFit community is more important than the actual workouts. Like all of my friends are there. I met my wife through there. Like I've been a part of it for so long. I love it because it's a sport, it's fun and all of that. And the community aspect is what makes me love it. But I know that's not necessarily for everyone. And I know CrossFit's not for everyone. I certainly wouldn't push anybody towards that. I always recommend it because I see what it does for me and I see what it's done for other people. But certainly would not be something that I say, oh, you have to do this or else we can't work together. Because a lot of times people are like, I'm not doing anything and I just want to do something. So going from nothing to CrossFit is a big jump. It's doable. It certainly is doable. If you go to the right gym and have the right coaches, that jump is certainly possible. CrossFit is infinitely scalable. We can take any movement, any prescribed workout that somebody who's super in shape, 25 years old, we can scale it down for anybody up to, 100 years old down to, we have a kids class at our gym that's, 6 or 8 year olds. Like we can scale all of that. So it's a way to do it, but I understand that it's not for everybody. So it would be, what have you done in the past? What did you like about that? What didn't you like about that? Most of the time, people who are wanting to get back in shape have some kind of experience doing something, whether it's a sport or just kind of a for fun thing that they did. Like, oh, I used to go play tennis for fun, like every Saturday or 3 days a week with some friends. Okay, cool. Is that something you'd want to do again? Or what have you been doing recently? Or why haven't you been doing it? So it's figuring out what's worked for them, what they liked, what they didn't like in the past. Why did they stop doing it? And what do they want to do to get started again? And again, if you've been doing nothing, but you used to play tennis 5 days a week, I wouldn't even suggest going back and playing 5 days a week. Like, how can we start going once a week and then adding in other movement in general? It's just to get started. And even if that's just a simple, hey, park your car in the parking lot across as far away as you can and walk in to the work every day. Like, let's just build some easy wins to get things moving and figure out what you like and don't like. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, exercise isn't the most fun when you're in the middle of it because you're pushing your body and it's tiring and you don't always feel like getting up and doing it. So what can we do to start getting you to get moving? But more importantly, what are you going to like while you're doing it or when you're done doing it? If you can have fun doing it, you're going to be more likely to actually do it. And that's what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was a while back because I work at a fire department. And so, we try and stay ready to go, but holiday season, it'll kick in. So after holiday season, we started, I went and got a Frisbee and made my whole crew get out there and just throw the Frisbee, run around.
Mm-hmm.
I was wore out, but that's because I was actively running and all that stuff and doing it while they would just stand there. But I thought it was fun. But it made it easy. I definitely think if you can find something you enjoy doing, for some that might be lifting as much weight as you can.
Mm-hmm.
For some that might be going on a hike, whatever. Just getting out and doing that. I would say I definitely see a huge benefit to actually getting outside, though. So when I say that, and you're like, well, I like playing video games. Yeah, you could, like, they got the Oculus or the, Wii and all that stuff where you could get active doing that stuff. I've tried boxing on the Oculus. That sucker can wear you out, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely recommend at least doing that outside. Get that sunshine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. I'm not a fitness coach. All right. So.
There's definitely benefits to that for sure. And, like you said, it's just doing something. And the biggest thing you get from just doing something, even if it is taking a 10-minute walk, it's getting in the habit of scheduling that time to do whatever activity that is. And it doesn't need to be anything crazy. Like if weightlifting is something you want to do, perfect. But if you're doing nothing, you don't have to figure out the perfect lifting program and then go and do it, right? Just how can we start setting aside time every day to say, this is the time that I'm going to go do an activity. Like I said, make it simple, make it easy, but just getting in the habit of setting yourself time aside each day to do it. And once you build that habit and put that in there, just like a meeting, right? You wouldn't miss a meeting for work, or we're recording this podcast. We set that meeting a while ago. Like, I'm not going to miss this. So how can we get in the habit of scheduling it? It doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing something and making that commitment to yourself.
Gotcha. So are you recommending you work out every single day? You'd mentioned every day, so I'm just wondering, because I am totally in agreement. I love 75 hard. I know the screen's cut short. I've actually got Andy Frisella's flag over there, personal excellence flag. I'm all about working out every day. I do. Not right now, but once we start, I get back in the habit of doing 2 workouts a day.
Yeah.
So, but is that kind of what I know you kind of scale it depending on the person, but.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, for sure. It depends. I mean, if you can get out there and get movement every day, and I think, maybe the wording kind of gets lost too. Like when I say workout, when it's how can we get physical movement, physical activity? And that doesn't need to be a serious workout, but yeah, I think you should get outside and you should walk every day. And if that's what your workout is, then cool, awesome. That's perfect. There's time that you need recovery for sure. So again, I think, yes, it's good to get out and get movement every day, but there are certain days of the week where I think we can start building up. Like, all right, let's make it a little more intense. Let's add some weight to it. But really it's yes, get moving every day is super important. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, like just getting out, especially outside, but even if it's just a walk for 10 minutes, I think doing that every day will help build the consistency without it being overburden on you, because people get to the point where they're like, all right, I'm going to work out. I'm going to go hit it every day. Monday, they go super hard, and then they're super sore on Tuesday. Maybe they kind of fight through that soreness on Tuesday, but then Wednesday, it's kind of all compiled, the 2-day effect, right? Usually when I'm squatting on Monday, I don't really feel it in my legs until Wednesday fully. So then Wednesday they go, oh, I'm sore. I'm gonna skip today, and maybe Thursday they're back in it, or maybe they go, oh, I'm still a little sore from Tuesday now, so I'll skip that, and that's when you kind of start derailing. So how can we do a couple days of good, like external weight lifting exercise, and then intersperse that with just keep moving during the day at some point?
See, and because I've definitely experienced that, what I've found, and it sucks. I'll just be honest, it really sucks. Is I'll go hard on a workout, say it's arm day or whatever, and then I'll start to feel it the next day. I might do a few more push-ups, and then I'll really feel it the next day. But if I keep forcing myself to do push-ups, even though it sucks, by like day 4 or 5, I'm good. I'm like, all right, good to go. It's like I don't know if it's what the biological thing is, like you keeping blood moving or keeping the muscles elastic. I don't know, but that's what I found.
Yeah.
But
I
again,
don't know
it
the
sucks
science.
on your mental state.
Yeah, I don't know the science behind that either, but for sure, I've always found where it's like if I'm super sore or even a little bit sick, like sometimes you get a cold, like sometimes it's better to just go in and do something, like get the heart rate up a little bit, get the blood flowing a little bit, get a little bit extra water in, like going in and just doing something, even if it's not as intense, even if it's not what you had planned on doing. Like maybe you're squatting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday, you're just so wrecked that you need some time to help yourself recover.
Mm-hmm.
Still go in and do something, because that's going to help the recovery process. Active recovery days are super important. That might be swimming a light day in the pool, or going for a nice walk, or doing some yoga. Like I'm not going to do anything. It's just, I'm not going to do something super intense. I just want the body to move, and that will help with the soreness and sometimes even with the sickness, right? Like I said, I have a cold right now, and I keep working out because, while it makes it a little bit worse during the workout, it just, for whatever reason, I feel better after and feel like it works through my system a little bit better and easier, but the intensity is just
I got
not
a buddy, every time he gets sick, he's like, I gotta go sweat it out.
Yeah.
He goes and doesn't work out. Although his are ridiculous. So, okay. So is that your focus then? Are you, because I know we've talked a little bit about real estate type stuff.
Yeah.
Is your main focus right now kind of building that coaching business?
Yeah, so that's definitely the main one. I have a business partner, Nathaniel Hovsepian. I think you've maybe had him on your podcast. So yeah, we're focused on building that out. It's called Fit Fatherhood. We have a free Facebook group where we kind of get dads in there, and because we're a part of a lot of dad Facebook groups, and we see a lot of the questions like, oh, I put on weight, like the typical thing, like I don't know where to start, or I start and stop with a lot of that stuff. So we're trying to provide a place where it's focused on health and fitness and not just general everything like some of the Facebook groups, but building that up and getting more people in there. And then we have a school community that's paid that, we can give a little more prescriptive advice and have special, Zoom sessions and coaching calls and all that stuff, along with, just some hangout calls as well. So, we're definitely looking to build that up. Real estate has been on and off for me over the past 3 or 4 years. I've done some wholesaling. I've done I bought a property, and I've recently, and that's how we kind of reconnected, was I'm doing some lending, and that's just on my end. Most of my money's lent out at this point, but that's not super focused right now. It's just, I have this money sitting in the bank. It's not really getting me much money. So how can I put that money out and get at least a little bit of a return? It's something that I'm definitely interested in, because I do understand the real estate side of things. Wholesaling, I understand how to comp stuff and make sure there's enough spread so my money's safe and it's secured by that asset. But I wouldn't say it's my overall focus. Like right now, it's how can I help more people and specifically more dads.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I know, shoot, that was maybe a month ago that we talked.
Yeah.
And I've started loan brokering in the past couple weeks, really. But I'm looking to looking to start lending out some of my own money as well. Been reading a bunch of stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is what I need to be doing. So
Yeah, with all the other stuff I have going on, it's like, how can I find this? How can I take something like real estate that I know is super beneficial, kind of diversify some of the stuff that I have, and just be a lot more passive, which is where I'm at right now.
yeah, it's definitely a way to go. But guys that are watching this, don't think you have to go be a lender. And I say that because if everybody becomes a lender, we have nobody to borrow our money. So everybody needs real estate investors and what we call producers and consumers. So it's all a part of it. But yeah, okay. So, well, I'm running out of questions. Is there anything specifically you want to share with people who watch this?
Know that you don't have to figure it out on your own. Like I said, we have the Facebook community, and health and fitness. There's so many different things, so many different diets, so many different opinions. Right? One day eggs are, causing cancer. The other day they're the greatest thing ever. So there's so much misinformation out there. As great as the internet is, but you don't have to go through and figure that. You have to go through and figure that out on your own. So come in to our group, ask me questions. Like, I just want to help people. So again, I want to help figure out where your goals are, where you're at, where you want to go. How can we connect those dots and get you moving? So don't feel like you need to do it alone. Don't feel like you need to have somebody help guide you. Mentorship is one of the biggest things that I've learned is super important. So if you feel like you need that or don't know where to start or don't know how to stay consistent, let me know how I can help. Come in, if you're dad, come into our Facebook group. But yeah, just looking to help more people with kind of clutter and going through all the clutter and confusion that can happen.
Okay. All right. And so I know you're big on coaching the physical side. What about the mental side? Do you guys do anything for that, or do you have recommendations that you send people to?
Yeah, so maybe we do some mindset talk, and that mindset's a lot of it. A lot of the times, there's the mental block on why you're not doing it, or that you can't do it, and the self talk. We don't focus on it too much, but it is something we do bring up and can help work through. I mean, we all go through those mindset challenges, especially being dads. You're pulled 9 different directions. There's days where you're like doubting yourself on everything, and days where you feel really good, but something's lacking. So we don't really touch on it a ton, but we will. Every once in a while visit it because it ultimately stems back to that. We have another coach that we will come in. We've had come in once, Creighton Bertrand. He's in sub 2. He's a real estate guy, but he's a high performance. He's very mindset, very all that stuff. So we have a good relationship with him that every once in a while we'll do a podcast with him and sit down and just have the conversation. He's a dad. He's got 2 girls. So, he has that same kind of insight, and we kind of work together in some ways sometimes, not in any official capacity, but just every once in a while we kind of, the 3 of us will sit down and record a session that people can come in and check out. And so that's really the main thing we do when it comes to mindset.
Okay. And then lastly, what about spiritually? You guys do anything spiritually?
Yeah, Nathaniel handles that more than I do. I would not say I'm a super spiritual person. I don't go to church. I don't go to any of that. I have no issues with that, obviously, but for me it's just never was one of the things. But I know Nathaniel is a little bit more on that side. But yeah, I mean, we'll cover anything that anybody wants to come and talk to us about. We have just an open coaching call on Tuesdays where anybody in the group can come in and talk about whatever. So yeah, we don't do any coaching on it, but it's certainly just one of those aspects of life that people may want to improve on, or just might be a big part of their life that we certainly will have a discussion about.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And that's mainly for dads, right? Or do you have
Facebook communities? Yeah, for dads. I do some one-on-one nutrition coaching, mainly with like corporate people, just because I'm familiar with, that aspect of W-2 and sitting behind a desk and doing all that. There's a couple people that I work with that, are former employees or former coworkers of mine that I work with. But yeah, that's the focus right now is dads primarily.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's interesting because obviously health is a big thing, right? Huge. But I think you had kind of hinted at it when I had asked about like the mental side of things. I know people say you can't judge a book by its cover, right? But we're not books. We're humans, and actually what goes on in here presents outside. So definitely can see, depending on how someone's health is, can actually give a hint at what their mental state is as well. It's not always the case, right? I'm not going to say that, if you get sick, it's because you've got, some mental block or whatever. Some people think that way. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's definitely just wanted to get a feel for like, if you guys were just focused on health. It sounds like you're mostly focused on health, but like there's health in different aspects as well. So
Yep, exactly.
that's cool. Man. See, I'm trying not to, because like I have a lot of opinions about stuff. But that's not what this show's about. This show's about you, not my opinion. So man, yeah, that's pretty much all I can think of. I'm not coming up with any other questions. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we move to the last part of the show?
No, I think I've covered
everything
I wanted to hit.
Awesome. Well, then let's jump into it. So a few questions got for you. First off, what made you want to be on the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we talked before, but we talked about a month ago, and I have my own podcast, but I'm trying to be on the other side of things, both so I can be a better interviewer, but also to kind of be on other people's and get exposed to through their network, and also to talk in person. I don't think we've talked face to face at all, really, just through text message and on the phone and stuff. So I know when we talked, you said you had a podcast, so it's like, hey, let's go on and do it. It'll be fun. I enjoy doing these, and that was the main reason to get to know you a little bit more, see how things are on the other side, and just see if I can help people in any way as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Well, I hope you can take something away from this, whether it's, how see the way I interview. I don't know how you do it. And honestly, I haven't been on anybody else's. So I just know my own way. I just try and have a conversation, and that's pretty much it. Like this last section is the only really scripted part I have. That's about it. So I don't know if that helps with, or if that helps with your side of things, if that's totally contrary to how you do it. I don't know. But
yeah, that's how I do mine. Yeah, just like, hey, give me an intro, and then I'll go from there. Depending on the person, how much I know about them, I'll have a couple of things that I'm curious about. I'm always wanted to ask them about. So sometimes I have some specific questions for them, but it depends on the relationship. But yeah, most of the time it's just sitting back, and we'll start with your intro, and we'll see where the conversation goes. And it'll just, as I'm curious about things, we'll dig into that. It's not, it's the same thing. Just have a conversation, have fun. I used to have questions at the end, but a lot of times the conversation just gets going, and it's like, oh, I got, they have something else that they have to hop on to. So it's like, oh, I guess we didn't get to them. So I have them there, but most of the time I don't even get to those.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I do have them, so I'm going to continue on.
Perfect. Yeah.
So let's say somebody wants to work with you, whether it's, well, we'll just keep it vague. They want to work with you. Yep. What value, if you could summarize it, what value can you bring to them?
Yeah, so providing guidance, right? I mean, if they reach out and they say, hey, I want to get better, especially with health and fitness stuff, I understand real estate, I can help with that. I'm open to help in any way that I can, but specifically on health and fitness, if it's something you're looking to improve on, it's going to be having that conversation. I prefer to do it over the phone. I do 15-minute little intro calls of, where are you at? What do you want to achieve? And then leaving you with a couple of things that you can start working on. And that's really what I want to do, is how can we take that first step, whether it's the low hanging fruit, easy thing that we can start doing now, or the thing I call big kahuna, where it's like, hey, this thing is going to make the biggest impact. Doesn't mean it's the easiest thing. It might be a little more challenging, but either way, having the conversation, what are you struggling with? What do you want to achieve? And how can we connect those dots to give you something to walk away that conversation with? And check in. And then if you want anything more official or more structured, that's where we can have an additional conversation of, okay, how can I help even further and become a full-time one-on-one client? And then for the dad side of things too. Like, okay, you're a dad, I'm a dad. I can likely relate to some of your struggles somehow. How can I help in at least the health and fitness aspect of balancing all of the stuff that you now have between the kid, the wife, the job, and then your own health and fitness. So again, just trying to help provide those actionable, hey, what can we start doing today? And that will build that long-term foundational habits that we're looking for.
Yeah. You got to catch up to me, bro. I
What's
got
that?
3.
Oh yeah, I
got 3
know.
kids.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
catch
yeah.
up.
We'll be there.
Oh, goodness. All right. So that person that came to work with you, what kind of value do you look for or would you like that's going to help you make money?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is I want to see you start taking action on the stuff that we talked about. Like that's going to be the biggest thing. Like, hey, that's going to give me joy when someone comes back and say, hey, I tried the thing that you recommended or that we talked about, and I've found a massive difference. We've done a challenge in the past where one of the weeks was just consuming more water and tracking that and being more aware of it. And when people come back and go like, wow, I didn't realize how much I was under drinking of water and how much just drinking an extra glass or two really made me feel that much better. So for me, like that's where my value is given back is, hey, like I've changed the way that you've done something and it's made a positive impact in your life. So that's a big thing for me. And then the other thing, if we have the conversation and maybe I'm not the right fit for you or you don't want to join the fatherhood group, like that's fine. If you found value in it, hey, recommend me to them. Again, just an intro call would be perfect, so I can learn a little bit about somebody. But those are the two biggest ways.
All right. And then lastly, what's some advice that you would give to someone? Well, actually, I don't know how to pivot this one. Typically, we're talking about real estate, so I just say newer into real estate. Just, I guess, someone who's wanting to get started into either fitness, real estate, anything like that. What's some advice you would have for them?
Talking to people. I mean, what your thing is fortune and friendship, right? So having a conversation with people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, having conversation with people who are at the same level of you, people who are ahead of you, having those conversations and meeting those people are going to be the biggest thing that you can start doing that makes the biggest impact. Having those relationships, having those resources, having those friendships is going to help build the community around yourself and that support that you need when things inevitably get hard, get challenging, and all of that. And that I think applies to pretty much anything: business, real estate, health and fitness, all of that. Like, just if you're thinking about doing something, just do it, but start talking to people because that will fill your cup up and provide a better foundation for things long term, regardless of whether or not you started talking to somebody about something and now you're talking about them about something completely different. Just building those friendships has been the biggest thing that I've learned that's made the biggest impact.
Okay. Awesome. And then, Zach, someone wants to work with you. Where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, Instagram, Zack Busch. That's Zack Busch, Busch, like the beer, not the president. And then 924. That's my Instagram. You can reach out to me there. I try to post it every day, but little clips from a nutrition webinar that I do every other week, every other Thursday. Post clips from that, post clips from my podcast, just little infographics, stuff like that, just to help people improve their health and fitness. So that's probably the best way to follow me and to reach out to me. I also have Facebook as well, so that'll work. But Instagram will be probably the best and easiest.
And then if they're a dad, you said a free group?
Yes, good. Thank you. The Fit Fatherhood Facebook group, you can search it through the groups. You can also just, if you can't find it, just DM me and I'll send you the invite over. But yeah, Fit Fatherhood. I forget what the catchphrase after it is, but if you search Fit Fatherhood, it's a picture of the dad in the shadow holding their kid up. So you can find it through there.
All right. And guys, I'll try and put that all in the description below. His Instagram, I'll even put the link to the group.
Perfect.
So yeah, should be good.
Awesome.
All right. Well, anything else, Zach?
No, I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
Awesome, bro. So guys, that's our show. Dads out there watching this, if you're neglecting your health, physical, mental, spiritual, whatever it is, reach out to Zach, get in the Facebook group. I'm in it. I'm just not as consistent on checking Facebook, so honestly don't even know what's going on right now. But I need to get back into it. You need to get into it. Unless you're a mom, find another group. All right.
Or recommend your husband.
Yeah, or recommend your husband. That'll work too. But no, seriously, guys, like, reach out to Zack. Figure out how you can work together, whether it's through fitness, whether it's through real estate, whether it's, whatever. Maybe you have some enterprise that he might be interested in. Who knows? But yeah, no, that's like and subscribe if you haven't already, which you should have, just so you know. But yeah, that's all I got. That's the show. Zack, I really appreciate you hanging out with me for about 41 minutes. It's been great. But yeah, until next time, guys, come back next week. We'll have another guest. And peace be with you. Be safe. Have a good week.
Thanks.